Rob Grimes with the IFPTA, and I'm really pleased today to have Mario Kokis, the sales and partnership leader of Lineup.ai, joining us, and they are one of our newest industry supporter partner members. So welcome to the IFPTA.
Thanks so much for having me.
So we're going to just start out with what is the background or what are the key points about, Lineup.ai?
Sure. So Lineup.ai got started. Our parent company is actually a 175-year-old insurance company who was looking to find ways to help small and medium-sized businesses eliminate risk that didn't have to be insurance focused. So they started a venture firm, and Lineup is the first venture to go to market. So our goal is to help restaurants eliminate risk by, offering them our sales, labor, and item level forecasts.
Well, okay, so that's very interesting. What was it, 175 years?
Yes.
Well, that's a long time. I guess they probably could not, because AI is in your name. So they probably did not envision AI at the time when they were founded.
Yes.
But we're talking about risk here. And when you talk about that they funded a venture firm, but actually the technology had already been started and then they went ahead and funded it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The machine learning models that we use have been going for probably about 4 years at this point, figuring out what are the right inputs to make sure that we could offer valuable forecasts to restaurants. And then we kind of built the MVP, did some experimentation with restaurants in the industry, gathered feedback, and went ahead and went to market.
Okay, well, I think people understand the idea of collecting data, and there's so much data out there, and you've already pointed out the idea of bringing in data that comes from the outside, which they used to do by hand, right? They'd write in a red book, and they'd sit there and they go, okay, what's the weather today? Any special events or something like that? So you're bringing those things in, but there's an outcome of the forecast that your tool and your engine is actually doing. So the outcome of it is to?
Sure, to kind of give peace of mind to multi-unit restaurants that everyone's forecasting the same way, to give them time back in their day to focus on other things with, retaining their employees or getting the most out of their customers. By no means am I saying this is, a magic bullet or a perfect solution just because it has AI, but the goal for Lineup is to empower owners and operators to make informed decisions with reliable data. And like I said, hopefully give them some time back in their day to do other things.
Now, as part of the outcome of the tool, you are helping, though, in labor scheduling and forecasting as part of the sales piece, right?
Yeah, so we would be taking the restaurant's labor forecast and comparing that with our sales forecast and saying, okay, based on this labor budget today, here's what we are telling you should schedule to stay within that labor budget, and just really helping restaurants manage to a specific percentage of sales that they want allocated towards labor, and hopefully cutting back on any overscheduling.
And how often is the information updated?
Yeah, so the model updates daily. So it would be updating on a daily basis. And then within the platform itself, we show the forecast for the day hourly. And then we do have a live feed from the POS, letting restaurants see how they're pacing to that forecast.
Okay, so what happens if their business volume is up and they weren't prepared for it, or the business volume is down? Are we enabling people to make changes during the course of the day?
Yeah, they could definitely make changes throughout the course of the day if they are able to make some real-time labor decisions. The goal for the forecast, hopefully, is that we've got all of those pieces of information up front so that they wouldn't have to make any extreme pivots throughout the day, but they are able to see if they need to, if they're not pacing to that forecast.
Now, as I think about AI, and every single conversation I have is about AI, but I've been using the term actionable information out there, and I do notice that you guys actually promote actionable data out there, so that you're giving a person the knowledge to take action. And obviously the end result should be one of two things: more profitability on one side, or possibly higher revenues on the other. So could we sort of talk about those two things, because they don't necessarily go hand in hand, because you could generate higher revenues but not have the profit go in there. And so it's sort of a mix. So can we maybe just talk about one side or the other, or how Lineup.ai actually can impact profitability but also impact growth and revenue?
Right. So if you think about the restaurant industry, obviously food and labor are two of the highest costs and highest expenses for a restaurant. So what we're hoping to do is help just optimize and manage the food and labor costs for restaurants today. We are able to help them better understand, what they should expect to sell throughout the day, what type of labor that entails, what they will need to service that type of sales volume. And then on top of that, being able to have the item level forecasts, what to expect to sell down to the hour each day, really helps with food prep, menu planning, and overall cutting back on food waste.
All right. So thank you, because you just connected the dots here. Okay. So that requires integration. Now, early on, you said you have point of sale integration. Are you also integrated to the back office side, because you're driving the back office, side, which might be ordering, production, forecasting on that just as much as is labor on the other side?
Yeah, our philosophy at Lineup is honestly to meet the restaurant where they are. We fully understand that adding an additional tech to your tech stack is not always easy. It doesn't always add operational efficiencies. So we try to partner and integrate with as many restaurant softwares that we can to make the restaurants' lives a little bit easier. So we do have some some inventory management companies that we partner with, and we're able to push our item level forecasts to their platform, where then restaurants can take those actionable
It flows
steps.
through.
And it flows through, exactly.
So if we take a look at the sweet spot of customers, because you've already mentioned multi-unit customers, and I did a podcast actually a few weeks ago where we were talking about the problems with definitions, because everybody defines enterprise differently than SMB, than independents. So where do you see Lineup AI's sweet spot?
I think our sweet spot has traditionally been fast casual dining restaurants. We do have some single location independent operators, all the way up to about 150 locations. So still, in our definition of small and medium restaurant groups, haven't really broken into that enterprise space just yet.
Well, actually, your definition and the one I probably would use is very synonymous with each other, but it really is going to be the multi-unit operator, which a lot of people define as 3 or more. I tend to think it's like 10-ish, right up there, but you still can be independent or franchised up to 150 units or so, but that really does designate. The other interesting thing about it is you didn't choose, I know, of course, you would do QSR, but you're talking about fast casual and you're talking about full service. And when you think about the labor pool in those two, it's much different in it. The training is different in it. The scheduling and volumes are different in it, and the locations are different. So you actually are choosing a little bit more difficult ends of this, that's not so much a cookie cutter, and it may vary market by market.
Yeah, I think, restaurants that tend to have specialized labor roles, different labor needs, this helps them better understand where to place people, when to place people, that for the ebbs and flows of revenue throughout the day.
So, we're talking about the different products that are in the marketplace, and, the word AI is being used by everybody, for sure, and it's in your company name, but you're also talking about applications like labor scheduling. You're talking about applications like production and forecasting. So how would you differentiate, Lineup AI versus those same terms being used in the marketplace by everybody else? How do you differentiate if I ask you your applications versus what makes you different?
Sure. There are definitely other companies that do forecasting, and there's plenty that do scheduling. But I think the biggest differentiator for Lineup is our proprietary machine learning model. So similar to other companies, we do partner with the POS to pull in the restaurant's historical data. But what makes us a little different is the additional data pieces we add into our machine learning model. So we look at things like local weather, local events, TV schedules, foot traffic, anything that could positively or negatively affect order volume to the restaurant. And the machine learning model combines those pieces with the historical sales, and we're able then to produce sales forecasts for the restaurant 4 weeks in advance. And then we go ahead and update those daily. So the restaurant never has to think twice about how any of those changes could affect their forecast. They don't have to hit refresh or change parameters. They just are able to open up the platform and see that and know that this is the most up-to-date sales forecast for my data pieces that day.
So if I were to just make a offhanded comment on this, You are funded in the first venture investment by a 175-year-old insurance company. And I'm just going to say that if they see that in your model, nobody is under more pressure to have to forecast based on the weather, a person's life expectancy, all those different data pieces than an insurance company. And so not only did they decide to invest in Lineup AI, but also their knowledge base of how to look, not just at risk, but at also potential going forward. Nobody probably does it more, does it better and in more in depth and understands machine learning as it relates to AI probably than an insurance company when you take a look at all the variables they deal with and how things change every day.
Yeah, exactly.
We really appreciate it. And, it's been a pleasure, speaking with Mariel Kokis, who is the sales and partnership leader at Lineup AI, who is a industry supporter partner of the IFBTA. And we want to thank you for your support and in the industry and what you're doing to actually take some new technologies forward and making it real, for the operators to be able to use in there. So thank you so much for joining us today and supporting the IFBTA in the industry.
Thank you for having me and continuing to support the industry.